And welcome back, and we're on to the 19th of Jan now. It feels like most of these questions are very much further maths questions. We sort of started with a bit of further maths in GCSE, but these are really a bit more further mathsy rather than normal GCSE. Yesterday was definitely an easier day, so I'm hoping for something a little bit harder. So let's get going with question 1. Okay, loads of words going on here. As ever, the key with this question is to pick out a couple of things. So first of all, units. So I can see things are working in minutes. And the reason for that is, although my question is in minutes, it may be that it wants you to work out, it may tell you something in hours and you have to make sure you translate it properly. Either way, it's giving me a function, so it tells me the number of m, which is microplastics in microplastics m after a sample of minutes is equal to 80, get my units numbers correct, 80,000 times 2 to the minus t. I want the number of minutes to be minus 2, which is a quarter. So in other words, a quarter of 80,000 is just going to be 20,000. Not an awful question, actually. That's not terrible. Next question. Okay, so we're continuing from the previous question. So let's keep all this in shot at the same time. After how many complete minutes does it take for the number of microplastics to fall below 100? Right, this is an interesting one. So either you're going to be in the camp of I've heard of logs and I've used logs, or you're going to be in the camp of I've never heard of them, and you're going to have to basically try different numbers. So let's start with the I haven't heard of logs. So the long way of doing it is you say I want 100, and that's going to be 80,000 times 2 to the minus t. And I just need to try different numbers. Well, first of all, let's tidy this up slightly. So if I divide by 80,000, I want 2 to the minus t to be equal to 1 over 800. Yes. Now, I'm going to guess, and of course I'm not really guessing, I'm going to guess at t is equal to 9. And if I put t equals 9 into the equation above, so this equation here, well, I get 80,000 times 2 to the minus 9, and that's going to give me 156.25. That is a number that's above 100, so that's not the number I need. If I try t equals 10, well, 80,000 times 2 to the minus 10, well, that's going to be, what's that one? So that is going to be 78.125. Just checking the calculator quickly. And that is below 100. So what does the question say? After how many complete minutes? So therefore, the answer to the question is t equals 10 minutes. Now, there is another way of doing this. And the other way of doing it is you use logs. If I start from here and write this down, so I've got 2 to the minus t is equal to 1 over 800. Then if I take the natural log of both sides, that tells me the natural log of 2 to the minus t equals the natural log of 1 over 800, which is the same as minus ln 800. And then if I rearrange this one, that gives me minus t ln 2 is equal to minus ln 800, which means that t is equal to ln 800 divided by ln 2. I'm trying to get my calculator out, put that in the calculator. That tells me it's 9.644 minutes, which is where I got my 9 and 10 minutes from. Obviously, if you've never seen the thing on the left, don't worry about it. But equally, if you have come across logs, logs are great. They feel a bit useless when you learn them, but definitely help you solve various sorts of questions. Next question. Okay, so we have a trigonometry question. Solve sine x squared equals a quarter between these two values here. Now I'm going to draw, because I think it's always good practice, I'm going to draw my sine curve here. And I want sine x, well, it's a square root both sides. That means sine x is equal to a half. Where does sine x equal to half? Well, sine x equals a half here and here. So calculator or not, you should know that x is equal to 30. And the other value is going to be 180 minus 30, which is going to be 150 degrees. But of course, when I do the square root, it's also the case that sine x is equal to minus a half. So therefore, x is down here minus a half. So x is equal to 180 plus 30, which is 210, or 360 minus 30, which is 330 degrees. So just keeping it nice and neat, so the answers are clear. So therefore, x equals 30, 150, 210, or 330 degrees. And that is that question done. Nice question again. Checking sort of about square roots, positive and negative, gives you 4 answers. Good question. Final question today. A curve meet with equation x squared, so it's a parabola, and actually you can't factorize this, so this can be an interesting one. Meets the x-axis at A and B, the points here as coordinates finally. Right, okay. So we have a parabola. I'm going to draw the parabola in a dotted line like this. You'll see why in a second. Now I know it meets the axis here, so I'm going to call that A and B as per question. And then I've got a point here, which is the point 2,5. Now, even though I've made it look isosceles, it doesn't actually matter, does it? Because the area of that triangle is going to be the length of A and B times by the height, which is 5, times by a half. So in other words, the question is, can you find the intersection points of A and B? So let's do that. So I've got y equals x squared plus 8x minus 1, which means x equals, I'm going to do minus b plus minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a, which is going to be minus 8 plus minus the square root of 64 minus plus 4 divided by 2, which I can simplify down to minus 4 plus minus the square root of 68 over 2. Now does 68 divide by 4? It does, doesn't it? Because that's going to be 4 times 17. And so therefore this is the same as minus 4 plus minus the square root of 17. Yeah, that's right. Now, I say obviously, but A is therefore minus 4 minus root 17 and B is minus 4 plus root 17, but it's a difference that I want. So the measurement from A to B is going to be minus 4 plus root 17, in other words B, minus A, which is minus 4 minus root 17. Minus 4 minus 4 is 0. 17 minus root 17 is going to be 2 root 17. So therefore, let's fill all this in. It's going to be 2 root 17 times 5 times a half. 2 and a half cancel, so my answer is 5 root 17. Good question that to end the day. I quite like that question. As ever, usual thing. If you've got these, well done. Nice little mix of questions again today. Bit of trig, bit of exponentials, a bit of solving coordinates and understanding coordinate graphs. I quite like the questions today. Hopefully you did too. As ever, comment, like, subscribe, usual thing. You know, I say it every day. It does help the channel grow, though, genuinely, algorithm, etc. Either way, I will see you for tomorrow.